Okay, we're live. Hi, Kartikey. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, hi,
Uh,
Shaarang.
Congrats on your 710.
Thanks.
Can you please share with us how you started working on the GMAT and what your initial incentive was?
Started working on GMAT around November 2019.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I started working on. I wanted. I'm currently in paramilitary, so I wanted to transition into corporate, and GMAT was the best option available to me.
Mhm.
So I started working into that, and working towards GMAT. So initially, I've given CAT once before, so I first used those resources. Then I realized GMAT is pretty different from CAT. So I looked for help online,
Mhm.
and I found a few resources. So I started using them. So I was already, as an Indian, we Indians are basically, quant is not much of a problem for us.
Mhm.
Basically, the verbal section is something that's, always the tricky thing for us. So I was looking, basically something that could help me, like improve my verbal section. And even before joining this, joining a course or something, the first thing that I did was take a mock GMAT, mock GMAT. So I took the Manhattan mock, the free Manhattan mock, and even before preparing, so I got around 590 in that.
Right.
In November. So I realized, okay, where am I lacking? Where am I right now? What
Right.
all I have to improve? So even I realized, okay, even my first quant's question was wrong. So I knew my score was dipping
Right.
from that point of time.
Right.
Because it was something related to this coordinate geometry,
Sure.
and it required formula. I didn't knew the formula. If only I would have known the formula, I could have aced it.
Yeah.
But it went downhill from there. So I knew, okay, my goal was around 700 plus.
Mhm.
And it was like I had to bridge the gap of this 110 points, 110 marks.
It's a big
So
gap.
that was a big gap. So this was before anything. So I started preparing, and I started with this OGs, about OGs. I started reviewing with that. Then I, got help from another online resource. I was using that, and I was very happy that my quant was going on very well.
Mhm.
Then I needed some. I started taking mocks before my GMAT, and then this COVID came. So yeah, this COVID came. I was planning my GMAT on this during this March or April 2020.
Right.
But
Everything was close.
that was very unfortunate time.
Uh-huh.
So I gave my GMAT. There were few things that I came to know during GMAT. I did few mistakes. I don't want anyone else to repeat it. I
Sure.
first gave, in November, in sorry, June, I realized, okay, I've delayed it a lot. And by that time, GMAT online option also, was also available. So I realized, okay, I have to give it. It's now or never thing.
Sure.
So I booked it on 26th or 27th, 23rd, I think, 23rd July.
Mhm.
I booked it for 23rd July. And during that time, see, we get nervous. We tend to get nervous.
Yeah.
And because of that, I had some problem. I had this wisdom tooth.
Okay.
There's some problem with that. It got aggravated. I had to go through that tooth extraction and all. And so the doctor told me it was because of that stress and everything. It got aggravated. So you need to cool down.
Right.
So I took a break off from training, and I postponed the GMAT for 5th of August.
Right.
And I postponed it, and everything was ready. Now this was the biggest blunder I did. On 5th, I was like prepared. I thought, okay, I'm done everything. I was giving mocks and everything. I was scoring around 670, 680 in mocks. So I thought, okay, that's okay. Maybe I'll score 700 in the actual
So was
test.
it the official marks or what do you
No,
think?
it wasn't the official mocks. In official, there were two official mocks. In two official mocks, I got around six. 660, 617 official mocks also I got.
Right.
And they were different mocks.
Right.
So on the last day, it was like my exam was on at around 12 a.m., 12 p.m. And at 1 p.m. I started packing. I thought, okay, let me put everything in place.
Mhm.
And then I realized, okay, I opened my passport and I saw my passport expired 1 month ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you needed for identity verification at the
Yeah.
card.
Yeah. It had expired 1 month ago, and you can't postpone GMAT. I mean, like you need to do it before 24 hours.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So how did you verify your identity, or were you not able to?
I wasn't able to. I called my GMAT center at around 9 a.m. the next morning. I told them I have my passport, but it is expired. Will it be valid ID proof? They said no.
Oof.
Yeah.
So you were not able to take the GMAT?
Yeah, I wasn't able to take the GMAT, and pretty bummed. So I went. Yeah, I was pretty bummed. I went back to my hometown. I got my passport done and everything. I mean, that e-passport that comes very quickly.
Okay.
So next I scheduled it on 3rd of September. But during all this, I mean, I was very nervous when I went there on the 3rd of September. And the one mistake that I did this time was generally, I mean, we have three options of choosing which, what do we say, in which pattern, I mean, we should give the exam. Okay. So mine was always So mine was always my verbal was weak. So I thought, okay, I should go with verbal first because my verbal is weak. So with a fresh mind, I'll do the verbal part. My quants is strong. So even if I'm a bit mentally tired, I can do the quants part, and then I will do IR and AWA. So that was my thing, and I did that. And in actual GMAT, actually the verbal questions were very much different from what I was getting in mocks. And
could you touch upon that, because that's the experience most people have. That's an experience even I had. So like how different?
I mean, I wasn't expecting these type of questions. It was totally something that the kind of logics and the kind of patterns they told me. I told you, I was taking help from another online resource. Sure. The kind of patterns they told me to look for in a verbal set.
Yeah,
I'm unable to find them. It was something new, and especially in the sentence correction part.
Yeah.
So the first 5-6 sentence correction questions came, and I wasn't sure. I mean, at point it was like, okay, all the answers are correct.
So they
I wasn't able to find a single, point of entry in initial questions. You may realize how bad it feels.
The strategy you're talking about is, I think, the very popular strategy for SC is they ask you to look for splits.
Splits, entry points. Yeah,
exactly. And you just can't find them because on the real GMAT, the questions are very different.
Very different. I mean, it was like, okay, I haven't seen something like this. I wasn't expecting anything like this. I wasn't prepared for something like this. And when your first 5-6 questions take a hit, your score is plummeting. Yeah. And you don't know how to so, and I gave it somehow, and because of that, I mean, because I did so bad in my verbal, I mean, it affected my quants also. And in quants, I was desperate to improve upon that. So I started I thought, okay, I will give more time to first 10 questions, so that I'm like first 10 or 15 questions, so that, okay, these are correct.
Yeah.
And that was my strategy. And I did that. And unfortunately, I took it very personally, because I always thought I'm very good at quants. I took it very personally. There were 2-3 questions that were way too tricky.
Yeah.
And they're not tricky. Actually, later on, when I realized, okay, I should have done these questions, I mean, like this. There's a different strategy for that. I could have done that, done those questions like that. I realized, okay, it was very stupid of me. I was very adamant. I was very, egoistical at that point of time, because of which I lost time.
Yeah.
And actually, I had to guess mark last 3 or 4 questions. Right. And I mean, my first mock that I gave without any preparation, I scored 590 in that. And after preparation, the mocks I was giving, it was around 660, 70, 80, 660, 70, 80. It was in this range. And the actual mock, when I, then one more thing happened with me. When I went to the center, I was always preparing with this, what do we say? For my rough work, I was always preparing with an A4 sheet and a pen.
Right. That's not what's available to you in the actual center.
Yeah. And where we get that scratch pad and this marker pen. So it was totally different.
Uh-huh.
It was totally different. So that change was something new for me. And then they gave me this, gave me an option of either like soundproof headphones and this earbuds. So I thought, okay, I'll use the soundproof headphones, but they were too irritating.
Gives you a headache.
Yeah, it gave me headache, and it was because of all that thing that was going on. Paper was not going on. I mean, because of that first verbal hit,
Yeah.
it felt like everything was against me. And when I finally submitted it, the score was 620.
Wow.
Yeah, it was 620, and it wasn't happy with that.
Yeah.
Wasn't happy with that. So
there are so many things going wrong, right? Like your verbal preparation was wrong, and you realize that in the actual exam, which is the worst possible time to realize that.
Yeah, realize it. I mean, realizing
quant preparation was maybe good, but you spent way too much time on some problems. And
I took what happened in verbal. I took that way too personally. So we should never do that.
Yeah, and the last 4 or 5 questions that you guessed mark, you may have got them right in like given enough time, but you didn't have enough time, right? And then you had all these other annoying things about the actual center that were bothering you, and it was just a horrible experience. I can totally imagine.
Yeah, so I mean, I was 620. The moment I saw it, I canceled my score. I knew I wasn't going to accept it. No matter how I came back, my friends told me, okay, why have you canceled it? You still have time. You can reinstate those scores. I was damn sure this is something that I don't want. I don't want my name attached to it. So I canceled it. Sure. Then I started looking for. I knew that okay, I could have done better in font section, but the main problem was my verbal section. So my verbal was very. I realized my the shortcomings of my verbal section. I started looking online for other resources, and then I got to know of e-GMAT. So the thing that intrigued to me about e-GMAT was, the courses were customized. I got customized them. There are this, number of mocks they give, and this Scholaranium, that we could use. So what I did, I registered for free first, for 7-day trial, and the way the way they were teaching this, the verbal. So okay, it was pretty different, and okay, I felt like okay, it was something that could help me deal with the kind of questions that were coming in actual GMAT.
Right. There's nothing about splits or point of entry.
There was nothing about that. It was about how, what are the basic grammar rules you should know, how to understand that, what are the kind of, like, okay, there's a noun. You need to first identify a noun. What is the subject?
Right.
I never knew that, okay, we should find the subject. And, the whole structure is based around that.
Yeah.
These prepositional phrases, we can remove that. That makes the sentence, so easy.
Sure.
I never knew about these things, and okay, I came to know about that. I decided, okay, I would
understand the actual meaning of the sentence, which is why you have problems on the actual GMAT, because actual GMAT is more meaning based.
And it's more meaning. So I gave it, and apart from that, whenever you solve a question, I mean, whenever any question is given in this e-GMAT, there's a proper discussion forum below. So you can go there. I mean, if you have any doubt, so you can go there, just search or type your question, and you will see, okay, many people who have discussed on that question. And okay, you will, I mean, I used it. I realized I never had to type a question on my own. And because all my doubts were already, there was someone else like me before who went through the same, who was thinking the same, and he asked that question, and that doubt was cleared for him beforehand.
Yeah. Did you also find the responses that the experts gave on those forums?
So that was the thing. See, so those were the replies to those doubts and questions. So that was the thing that was very helpful, and I never needed to actually post any question of my own. All the doubts were cleared like that only by going through the forum only. Then something happened. I mean, some office work and something. I had to go somewhere.
Sure.
So there was no internet connectivity there. Because of that, I had to take a break. So I came back in around February. And by that time, I had taken e-GMAT 3-month subscription.
Okay.
So I called them, I renewed my subscription. I took it again. And this time I ensured that, okay, I went through that all again. I gave 1 or 2 mocks. And I reviewed the quant parts. And basically this time when I was doing it, so after once I had this over with this verbal part, so no matter whether I was in, I usually used to go to GMAT club and Google these 700 plus this SC questions, RC questions. Everybody does that. I used to go there, and this time when I was doing it, these questions on GMAT club, 700 plus questions. So I realized, okay, my timing was had improved.
Sure.
My timing had improved because there's an error log and we can see our past data and everything. So my timing had improved. My error percent, my graph, like error graph, and it wasn't that steep. I was considerably making less errors.
Yeah. Do you credit that to learning the fundamentals the way e-GMAT taught you fundamentals? Because the big difference between what you learn elsewhere and versus what you learn in e-GMAT is e-GMAT has a lot of focus on fundamentals and not on like quick tricks and hack.
Yeah. Basically, it was on fundamentals. Most of the times, no matter where I was looking on, whether on internet or any other online resources that I used, they were talking about, okay, how to your main goal is to clear the GMAT. So you should do this, and the question will be solved. You can do this, and question will be solved. So that fundamental, basics thing,
sure,
we were missing out on that. So yeah, that helped me a lot. That, okay, how to find it. Okay, even what the subject, that subject verb agreement, you find that there are many subject verb pairs, you look that, and you connect them, and you would get to know find the flow, actual flow.
Sure.
And around 70% problems are based on that in actual GMAT.
Right.
So yeah, these were the things that, and because of that, this time when I went for GMAT, for the first 5 or 6 questions was pretty relaxed. Okay, these are easy questions. So when I gave the actual GMAT, I was like, okay, these questions are easy. Maybe I'm doing too well. That I think I've prepared too well. That I'm feeling these questions are okay, or I've screwed it up and I'm getting easy questions.
Yeah. But you also mentioned tracking your progress. You track on GMAT Club. I'm sure you use Scholaranium. You mentioned you use Scholaranium. So you have done some tracking there as well.
Yeah.
How important is that? And how did that help you improve? Because you effectively worked only for 1 month, right? The month of February.
Yeah, month of February. See, the first thing what happened with me, when I gave my GMAT, I didn't knew, like, once you, whenever you are giving a mock, so you get the answer sheet, which questions are wrong, which questions are right. You can see your progress. You can track your progress from your mocks. Right. But in an actual GMAT, you don't get that.
Yes.
You don't get that. So I got my ESR. I got it evaluated. And most of the people, whether I did it, there were many people on GMAT Club you could find who could evaluate it for free for you. Even e-GMAT does that. So I did that. And everyone told me that the problem lied with my basics.
Right.
My basics were pretty weak. Basically verbal thing. My basics of verbal were pretty weak. And there were some, gaps in my learning that needed to be filled. And those were basically exposed on the worst possible day.
Right.
So yes, it's very important to track your progress, like where you are wrong, and your like error percentage, how much wrong you are. This in GMAT Club, this difficulty level of questions.
Sure.
And so for you can use that, find that, okay, yeah, your difficulty level, what kind of difficulty level questions are there, and you are solving them. So
did you also use Scholaranium to identify what types of questions you had a problem with? For instance, like parallelism in SC, you have a problem with, and yeah. So how did that go?
See, I told you that I realized that, okay, basic problem was with this subject verb agreement.
Sure.
And finding the subject. Yeah. Like for example, I wasn't able to, I never realized that, okay, which and words like that, connecting words, actually they're also subjects.
Right.
So these were my, what do we say, learning gaps that I was talking about. So I reviewed that. I mean, and in e-GMAT, whenever you do it, it's like, okay, you need to have around 80% or something like that. If you don't get that, you need to go back again and do the coursework. So if it is said that, okay, if you don't get that, if you get around 78% or 76% also, please do go back.
Right.
And just complete it properly.
Right. So I think e-GMAT has a tracking methodology that it recommends that these are the cutoff, these are the benchmarks, and if you don't get it to this level, please repeat it. And you just stuck to that methodology.
Yeah, I mean, like whenever you use any online resource, so just you just get a meter. Okay, when you have completed chapter, 50% complete, 60% complete, 70% complete, and it's not just okay, you have to complete it 100%, everything would be done.
Sure.
It's not just that, okay, you have to read it and do it. You have to see that you are getting the scores, the desired scores that are there.
Sure.
Yeah.
So,
that's very important for
you.
How
does this help you, or how does this sort of make you more confident of the actual exam? Because in your first attempt, your confidence was shattered in the first 5 itself.
My confidence was shattered. That was the thing. And this time after the first 5 questions, okay, I was like, okay, I don't know whether it's going. I knew that, okay, I've done it. I mean, I've done it properly. I was pretty sure that, okay, the questions were right. I've done them properly. I've given right answers. But even after that, I think I was getting easier questions. So, I mean, the questions felt easy to me. I won't be saying that the questions were easy. It felt easy. I mean, I felt okay. I was more comfortable. I wasn't shocked by them. And the thing was that because of that, this time management thing, like I completed the paper in time.
Right.
And this, regarding whether it was sentence correction and reading comprehension or anything, I mean, critical reasoning, everything, I was able to do it properly. And the strategies which they told aided me. And for us Indian people, I mean, verbal section, which is I think the most daunting thing we ever face. So it helped me like overcome my verbal fears.
Awesome. I think your advice is very, very sound, where you're doing the fundamentals from scratch. You're tracking everything. And that sort of translates into confidence on the actual exam. And confidence helps you basically save time and not second guess yourself, not to take things personally like you take things personally in your first attempt. Yeah, I think that's fantastic advice.
This time, even before that, I bought this scratch pad and this marker from Amazon.
Yeah.
And I used that, and I had to be comfortable with that. The earbuds were there. So I got those earbuds from a friend of mine who used to work on airport. Right. So that I could use them properly. So I was comfortable with earbuds this time. So I went there, I said, okay, I would be using earbud. I was comfortable with scratch pad. You should be comfortable in the
recreating the entire GMAT experience in your own home when you're taking the GMAT, the mock tests.
It's very important. I mean, you shouldn't pause it, take a break or anything.
Yeah, that's a difficult one to not pause the exam.
Yeah, it's very difficult. I mean, like I'm here at home alone.
Yeah.
And sometimes either the maid would come or someone would come, someone would knock. It's very difficult, okay, to ignore the call. I used to put my phone on airplane mode and then do it. Whether you should be prepared during your mock. Okay, what if there's a power cut, the Wi-Fi goes on? So you should be ready that your phone is nearby and you can connect your like laptop to your this hotspot.
Right.
You should be prepared. I mean, get like creating an actual environment for this your mocks is very important.
Absolutely. I mean, that's some fantastic advice. Thank you so much for sharing, Kartikey. And our conversation earlier was of some help to you.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks so much for coming on the call today.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Have a great day, man. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.